Hey, Charlie, you know what time it is?
It's time for According to Low Elo.
Oh, shit, guys. We're here with patch 12.8. This is a good old mid-season invitational patch.
Yeah, it should be a good one. There's just looking at the brief preview, there is a shit ton of changes. So
They really want a good selection of champions played at this thing.
right.
Like.
I'm actually down for that though, because sometimes you just see the same. One of the things I hate about international competition, and I've seen this, I think it was it 2016 Worlds? When was the Worlds that Cloud9 went really deep? Was that 2016 or 2017?
Maybe 2017.
And like there was two picks. You either played Kog'Maw or Tristana bot. Like the
Oh, it
team
was
comps, literally you would just flop side. Whatever side you're on was the team comp you played.
Was that Ardent Sensor meta?
I think so. And C9, I just remember C9 picked Tristana, I think. Or no, they picked Kog'Maw and they kept losing on Kog'Maw and they kept picking the same pick in a 5-game series. I'm like, why are you doing this? You're not winning. Why are you picking the same comp? Pick something else.
I'm assuming...
I just remember that was frustrating. So I'm hoping this international competition has more variety than that. That was like the one that just I hated.
I'm also assuming a lot of these changes are going to be minimal.
Probably.
Nothing too crazy. But before all that, we're going to go back to last week's episode. Episode 46 is Q&A. And we asked, between the new champions that are soon to be released and the reworks, what are you most excited for and why? Caleb wrote in and said the Oyster Champ, because you guys mentioned otters, and the idea of an otter champ is absolutely incredible. I'm telling you, man, it's gonna be a little otter guy.
I love otters. I mean, he could instantly catapult to be my favorite champion until he's got 60-minute dashes, in which case you catapult to be my least favorite champion.
You already know that dude's gonna have 69 fucking dashes.
I know, right? Like, how does Riot build a champion without a dash these days?
Also, I think you mentioned it. It kind of sounds like Fizz. Like, it's kind of like a trickster giggling, like...
Right.
Kind of sounds like Fizz.
It almost sounds like a Fizz rework, but it's not a rework, so who knows?
Caleb, thank you for writing in.
Thank you, sir.
And last week's poll was, will these Swain changes be enough to make him relevant again? And 88% said yes, and 12% said no. I'll talk about it in a little bit when we get to the actual patch notes, but I had an opportunity to play like a game and a half. There was a lot of rework or remakes, so I was able to play one full game with the new Swain. But yeah, so
they also, just as a quick note on Swain, they've already hotfixed him, so that should give you a sign of what we're actually looking at.
It's not good news,
right?
And then really quick, who was it? Squamado, fucking amazing name.
Squamado, dude. Yeah, we were just talking about that name. It's great. It reminds me of Yamato, but like, I don't know if you're Squamish or something like that. I don't know. You could be
it's like
Native
Sasquatch,
American.
like Squatch. I don't know.
Yeah, Dean said Squatch. The name was good, dude. I like it.
All right, he wrote in and asked us, do you think Gale Force is going to get a buff to compensate for the CD nerfs?
I would love to say yes, but I think the answer is no. And part of the reason I think the answer is no has to do with Ingenious Hunter. I think it's an unrealized, and we've talked about this for, 3 weeks now?
Right.
I think it's an unrealized or unused, unpopular rune that I think recently it's like a lot of champions I'm playing, I'm like, okay, am I going Gale Force or Kraken Slayer? Because the hell with Shield Bow, get that thing out of here. And I want the cooldown because it's such a, was it 90 seconds now, I think, on Gale Force?
No, it's 110 now.
Yeah, it's so long. I'm like, give me Ingenious Hunter. Let me Gale Force more often.
I mean, let's...
So I don't think they're going to do anything to compensate, is my opinion on it.
I'd be curious to see, at least for pros, like, how many people take Ingenious Hunter.
Right.
I mean, like, because normally you're going to take a lot of the ADCs, unless you're playing Kaisa that takes, like, Halo Blades, you're going to be taking Yellow Tree first, and then Red Tree second, which most of the time is probably going to be Taste of Blood, and, I mean, before it was Ravenous Hunter.
Yeah.
But
now there's, like, Eyeball Collection, maybe? I don't know.
I think, yeah, that might be good. A lot of champions...
But as an ADC, is eyeball collection really that great? I mean, that's just raw stats.
A little extra
but
damage.
It's not a whole lot of raw stats. Like, could you get more out of Ingenious Hunter? I mean,
I just
I
don't
guess
think
it depends on what you're building. I guess.
I just don't think it's worth one item cooldown. I mean,
Right.
what if I mean it all depends on what you're playing into, right? If
Right.
are you gonna build
Right.
Kraken Slayer, then you don't need that.
Right.
Um for a buff, I don't know, I could see them giving like 580, something very small. Maybe buffing the mythic passive, which I
I was
think
gonna say
is
the mythic passive is probably the better, just like what's movement speed, right?
right.
So just like a 0.5% of movement speed, maybe,
Maybe.
because you're talking an extra 2.5% movement speed. You don't want to give them 5%. I feel like is a lot if you're just trying to
You're
like
fucking
equalize
right,
it a
it's
little
a
bit.
lot.
Yeah, exactly. It's astronomical. So if you're trying to equalize it, I feel like if you give 1% for each completed item, I think that's too much. So if you just kind of split that in half, you're probably fine.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you for writing in, guys. Feel free to write in any questions you want.
Yes.
We like answering questions and stuff.
Honestly, any week if you don't like the prompt, you can ask us a question or something
Sure.
like that. I think that's fair and easy enough to do because we're not that big yet.
We're getting there.
We're getting there, and we do need your guys' help.
Yeah, I was gonna say really quick before we speak about the LCS finals. If you go to Google and you type in League of Legends podcasts, we pop up on a list at number 20, which is pretty insane.
Right,
It seems, I
right,
mean, there doesn't seem to be that many, but a lot of them don't look like they're consistent with posting. I mean, you see, you have the Dive Hotline League, you have the Trinity Force podcast, all
right.
that, but
League
um,
cast.
guys, we want to move up on that list. So if you guys are enjoying these episodes, rate us 5 stars. It
And
really help us out. And I know it's kind of cliche to say that, but it's we want to be heard by more people. So
right.
anything helps.
Well, the other thing I want to mention too is, as far as I can tell, just by looking at these other podcast stuff, is we're the only ones who do what we do. No one else does what we do. No one else is in. The more popular ones are usually filled out by platinum and diamond tier players, and they're geared towards those folks as well, right? And they talk a lot of bullshit, but no one actually talks about the game and the patch notes and stuff like that in the same way that we do to make it simple. We're the only ones. And all the really, really, really popular podcasts, that's all professional play stuff. So, like, we're the only ones who do what we do. I think we bring something unique to the table, and it would be awesome to climb those ranks and join some of those other guys,
Yeah.
Join your hotline leagues and your Trinity Forces and all
Any
that.
any ratings helps, guys. It'd be
Seriously,
really appreciate it.
honest ratings.
All right.
I'm a big pusher for honest ratings. But let's get into that LCS minute,
What
dude,
the fuck
because what
happened?
a fucking weekend. And actually, I had missed the Hotline League that aired live before the
Right, on
first day,
Saturday.
the lower bracket finals. And I was listening to it this morning, and wow, the overwhelming push for Team Liquid from all of the analysts and pundits and whatnot. And it felt like everybody wrote EG off, and I felt like to an extent we wrote EG off, but like I think last week when we talked about it, I was like, if they can keep that consistency that they had played with against Cloud9, like they look pretty fucking unstoppable. And lo and behold, they smashed Team Liquid and absolutely dismantled 100 Thieves. And I don't think anybody was expecting that.
No.
And don't even count Flowers. I know Flowers had a 3-0 prediction, but Flowers always picks 3-0 in either direction because if he's confident with his choice, he's just saying they're winning all of them, even if it's not realistic.
I was gonna add to the Hotline League. Didn't Papa Smithy get on there and he was talking to Steve and he was just like,
Yeah.
"EG's gonna beat you guys." I think he said 3-1, but
Yeah.
he I think he was the only one that predicted, at least when they were talking to him, that.
Right.
But
I know Mark had predicted EG over Team Liquid, but then everyone was like, even if EG wins, it's 100 Thieves all the way.
yeah, that too.
And that was insane to see. I got a little scared after seeing that EG was up 2-0, and I was like, uh-oh, is it going to be crawl closer time to come back and pull this thing back from the depths? But there was no chance.
Hearing hearing that both these games were 3-0s, you're probably like, oh my god, that's boring. These were the most this was the most entertaining sweeps I've ever watched.
Dude, the Danny Baron steal into Pentakill.
Okay, yeah, that was fucking insane.
It blew my mind.
To be fair, what the fuck was Liquid doing?
Right, but I have the gall to just, I'm gonna steal the Baron, and then I'm just gonna kill everybody, and there's nothing anybody could do about it.
If you were reading anything, the fucking Baron randomly regened health.
It did. It I don't know if it leveled up or something, but yeah, it gained 150 health or something like that.
Who was I talking to or listening to that they were talking about this? But apparently every minute...
It was JLXP.
Yeah, he was talking about it just randomly heals consistently, and it just happened to be right as Santorin smote.
Yep.
That's past tense of smite, right? Smote?
Right, yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
And Danny got the fucking Jinx, the Q rocket, and just went ham, and that game just 180, and they won 3 minutes later.
Yep. That I guess we must never notice. It must do that more often. The Baron must heal more often than we notice, because I've never seen it, but it's a pretty negligible amount of health. I think it really only matters in this kind of situation, right? You're talking about missing a smite, but Jesus Christ.
It was so unlucky for Santorin, but it was unbelievable for Danny, and
right
from there that dude just popped off.
That guy's a monster.
Shit, he's a monster.
Absolutely.
I actually have some copium for MSI, but
they got to continue to play like that. I will say I think Inspired is a really great jungler to enable their style. There's someone who's been in international play before, who's played with the big dogs. Same thing with Impact, and Vulcan as well. So I think that's going to be really helpful in keeping the other two younger guys in line with what they want to do. But I know they definitely have some things to work on. There's no way that they're going to win a tournament if they decide they're going to sack every first two dragons. You know what I mean?
Right.
There are better teams out there than just what's an NA that can counter their play style, right?
Yeah. I'm scared. I mean, we're
Faker and T1.
What group? We're in Group C, I think it is.
Yeah, I think we have LEC. I think LEC.
Yes, we're going against G2.
Yeah,
whew. That's gonna be a battle.
It will be a battle, honestly. Impact has always played pretty decently into Broken Blade. Broken Blade obviously plays more carries, similar to Bwipo in that regard. But Impact is just a solid stud. Caps can certainly pop off, but we've seen JoJo do it as well. I think that who's the bot laner over there in G2 now again?
It's not Targamas, is it? That's the support.
No, Targamas is the support, and he definitely is a window of weakness for them.
I'm looking right now.
Is it Flackid? No. Flackid's on Fnatic. Who's there?
It is Flackid.
Oh, okay, it is Flackid. Okay, so I think the bot lane definitely will outshine G2's bot lane. Danny may make a mistake here or there, but Vulcan's actually just a really good engaged support player, and I feel like he can really turn the tide, and they can play that game through bottom while having a solid top laner who's used to playing weak side. I mean, Impact on tanks, if we remember that meme.
I was like, what do you think about Impact into Broken Blade?
I want to sell it as an even match if I'm really thinking about it, but it depends on what Broken Blade plays, right? Broken Blade is that plays similar champions like Alphari. Think of like your Aatroxes, your Gwens, champions that are more bruiser or fighter in nature, as opposed to tanks. He's not that great on tanks. So I feel like GT is either going to ban out some tanks and force Impact on a playmaker like maybe a Kennen or something like that. I wouldn't be surprised if they ban out like Ornn and whatnot, because that's only like an NA thing. And so you could just take that power pick away from an NA team and force them to play some other style, you know. But it should be pretty even. He'll probably win lane over Impact, but it depends on the champion picks and if Impact can take the lane loss, but turn it into a game victory. Like I feel like he so often does.
We'll see. I think it
But
starts
I think between that matchup and Inspired versus Yankos would be a very, very good matchup to watch.
Well, they probably know each other pretty well.
Right. I mean, you're talking G2 versus Old Rogue.
Yep. Yep.
So.
Yep. So yeah, that'll be pretty excited for that. So
Right. I don't even know when that is.
I think MSI starts in like 2 weeks. I want to say it's like the second week of May. Start date is May 10th.
Beautiful. So, yep.
Yeah, about 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
Cool. So let's go EG. Tyler and I are the biggest EG fans in the world now.
Dude, I mentioned at the beginning of the split that I was kind of starting to take a liking to EG, but I fell off because I felt like I wasn't quite latching on. But damn, dude, watching Danny just when he starts popping off is absolutely insane and extremely fun to watch. So I'm gonna keep my Golden Guardians as my first team, but I usually always have some backup because especially when you have a team that's a lower tier and a lower budget, they're generally not going to be in any finals, and you're always going to want some team to root for in playoffs. And I've felt for the past year, including the beginning of last split, that EG will be a perennial playoff team every split. So they'll definitely be on my radar, you know.
For sure. And with that, we're gonna take a break and do the patches after. All right, guys, we are back.
Boom, what up? All right, let's get in the weeds on 12.8 here. This is got a lot of changes, and I haven't looked at these. I think Dean's looked at these. I haven't looked at any of these. And I just there's a fucking lot going on, and I know it's gonna be somewhat out of order because of the Swain hotfix. He's gonna be first on our list.
So yeah, if you guys go back and listen to, or you can go read it. I mean, all the Swain changes we went over.
Yeah, they're pretty much the same. I think they're just number changes, right?
Yeah. But as far as the hotfix, he's getting hotfix the same day the patch rolled out. That does not good. So his base armor is going up by 3, and his base movement speed is going up by 5.
Oh wow.
Something small.
Yeah, a little bit, but I mean that's helpful. 5 movement speed is actually surprisingly helpful, especially if you're a slow moving champion like he is.
So, like I said, I was able to play one full game of Swain. I played him top. I went like Bruiser AP. I went Leandries. I felt like Leandries would probably. I went against a Tom Kench too, which was very fucking difficult. Apparently, that champion is still fucking broken solo lane, even though they nerfed his solo lane shit.
Right.
I got clapped. I got clapped pretty easily early. I just spent a majority of it just trying to stack his demon fragments.
Yeah,
it came up pretty. It stacked pretty quickly. I had like 500 HP by like 10 minutes. Just whatever.
Well, that's pretty good. Shit, that's a lot.
The one thing I am struggling, and again, I've only played one game, is what keystone to take with this dude. Because I went electrocute because it's very easy to pop if you land your E, pop the W, and then Q. It's easy, electrocute. Obviously, it's gonna vary. I think on Old Swain you could take Phase Rush. Phase Rush is pretty good.
You could. It's tough because you have to hit all of your abilities, or you have to hit you have to hit 3 of your abilities in the passive. But once you could hit them, you could really chase people down. But I don't know that I would do that in his current form.
I was also thinking Grasping the Undying just for extra lane sustain. You can stack as much tank stats as you can while stacking HP. Also Conqueror, but
Conqueror is what I was just thinking about too.
It's if his ult like stacked it'd be pretty insane. But I mean, I guess you could quickly. Your Q is going to be on a very low cooldown. I don't know. It's iffy.
It is. It is. I was thinking Conqueror like the same way that people run Singe with Conqueror.
Sure. Right. It doesn't stack very. It's difficult to stack.
Right.
but the extra healing, the extra damage, anything's gonna help. But the one thing I'm gonna have to try Riftmaker next, just for the extra vamp, because it felt like his ult did not heal him for shit. And getting an hourglass second item is like a must, because you are just so fragile. You still feel very fragile because you don't get the HP buff when you ult anymore.
Yeah.
So you're very squishy. I got shit on early game, and then late game it kind of clicked on like 3.5 items. Okay. So it's a struggle. You're gonna have to play again. I played him top too. He probably is better mid, but
maybe I think it depends. I think if you're playing into a tank on the top side, he's actually not a bad pick into that, because it's gonna be kind of a I wouldn't call it a stalemate, but kind of
like a free lane to scale kind of.
Right. Right. Kind of the same way that they used to do with Vlad, right? Throw him in the top lane against a tank, because Vlad's going to just scale and the tank's not going to kill him. I still think he has similar play pattern to Vlad, similar build pattern to Vlad. I mean, obviously Vlad builds Proto Belt just so he can get in, but I probably wouldn't build that on Swain.
I think a good option might be just Everfrost too. I think Everfrost is good. Cheap, and it just offers a little extra CC.
It does.
So yeah,
it does.
So. Go play him. I wouldn't be surprised if he gets another hot fix, just another buff, because I feel like he's struggling.
Slightly too weak. Yeah. So everyone that answered that these Swain changes would be good, we're all wrong. So
guys, go play him and suck at him so he gets another hot fix.
Yeah, go drop his win rate, even tank it even further.
So yeah, guys, if you want to read through all the Swain stuff, or go listen to our last week's episode, that's where everything is. So we're gonna mosey on past him, and we land at Bard. What we got with Bard?
Ooh, Brad getting a little bit of a buff here. The passive damage meep scaling increased, and the W base max heal increased. That's what I like to see. So I suck at really catching people out with the Bard ulti, but I'm an excellent chime collector, and I make really good use of the Caretaker Shrine. I just feel like my teammates don't. So the max heal is actually really nice, because I do like to lay him down in inconspicuous areas in lane to help my laner out, because I know that, hey, I'm going to go run off and go collect these chimes, which is now even more important, considering they're giving you... It was 30 plus 12 damage per 5 chimes with a 30% AP scale. It's now 35 plus 14 damage per 5 chimes with a 30 AP scale. It's not a but obviously noticeable.
I don't play Bard. Does that scale infinitely?
Yes.
Okay. That's what
it does. The only problem is you kind of cap out. I wouldn't say cap out, but like about 60 chimes is a lot.
Right.
If that makes sense. So you're probably going to be somewhere in the neighborhood of 45, closer to like a late game. And then, I mean, you start collecting a lot really late when you're trying to traverse the map and ward for Baron and Dragon and whatnot, is really where you start picking up a lot of them. But at that point, Bard isn't the damage dealer that you're getting from him in lane, right? With the Q and the auto attack passives. He is just the utility, like ult somebody so your team can get around them and set up, and then hopefully you land a Q and get a stun, but you're not trying to deal damage.
Okay.
But that's about it for Bard. I mean, there's not much else to say on that. I didn't go over the numbers on the max heal. They're keeping the same 60% AP ratio. The max heal was 55 to 215 based on the level of the skill. It's now 60 to 240. So not a huge difference, but a little nudge in the right direction, and I think it makes a difference, because considering that's your second max skill, so you still get effectiveness out of it in lane.
Always nice.
Yes.
So we got Ezreal.
Oh, Ezreal
cooldown decreases with rank. Oh my god, this is okay.
This champion doesn't need that.
Yeah, this is a very odd change. I feel like Ezreal is fine. So his R cooldown is going from 120 seconds at all ranks to 20, 105, and 90. And if you have your head in the fucking ground and don't know what Ezreal does, his Q reduces the cooldown of all his abilities. Is it 1 second, 1.5 seconds?
It's either 1 or 1.5 for every time he hits an enemy.
So late game, this thing is going to be up even way more.
Right. I will say the one thing that works in the favor of reducing the cooldown is, though Ezreal does use his ult for damage on champions, he also uses it as like a utility ult, kind of like Lucian does a lot of times with the culling. Like if you need to weaken a wave or clear a wave or whatever really quickly, it's a great option to do that. Or, I mean, the funny thing about the Ezreal ult is it acts similar to the Ashe arrow, where it actually grants you a little bit of vision too.
Mm-hmm.
And so a lot of times you see him ulting for neutrals to see if he can A, find someone, or B, snipe whatever's there, So that's the only reason I could see is like he does have utility with this ultimate. It's not purely a damage dealing ability. It does have other uses. But obviously the main thing is damage dealing.
All
but
right.
Since I think the reason they're doing this is, I mean, everyone's playing these hyperscaling ADCs, right? You have your Jinx, and then Xayah's not necessarily a hyper carry, but she is one of those just extremely fast attack speed carries. And Ezreal is not an attack speed carry, and he hasn't had a way in because he can't compete with Jinx, and he can't compete necessarily with Xayah. And so I think they need to give him a little way back into the game, if that makes sense.
Yep.
But we got Fiddlesticks next. A little small one here. The W healing against champions is increased. I think that's actually pretty nice. I don't think you'll see him at MSI regardless, but looks like based on the level of the ability, so it was scaling from 30 to 50%. It's now scaling 30 to 70%. But it's still always 15% against minions.
I believe that's the percentage of healing based on the damage you deal.
I believe so.
Okay, so yeah, 20%. And again, this is your first max ability, so it's this. I wonder if this. Do you remember when Bjergsen was playing Fiddlesticks mid?
When was this?
When he first got reworked, He played Fiddlesticks mid like a couple games. It was like Tankle Sticks too. It was weird.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about that. That's right.
So I mean,
middle sticks.
Could you see Fiddlesticks laning to get extra damage? You could. I don't think so. I mean, it's still, if you're using your W against lane minions, you're not gonna get shit back.
Yeah, he's still definitely a jungler.
You could be annoying. I remember old Fiddlesticks was. I mean, we went over this on the
right.
Old Fiddlesticks support was bullshit.
Yeah, and I remember people trying to make him a support in his current form, but it's just doesn't offer the same things that it used to.
Yeah, right. So I mean, okay. Moving on to Jhin. W root duration increased. Damage reduction against monsters removed. That's interesting. E traps now recharge faster. Damage reduction against monsters removed for first trap. Are we gonna see jungle Jhin?
Maybe.
So let's see. Deadly Flourish. The root duration is getting bumped up by 1/4 of a second at all ranks, which isn't nothing too crazy. Or I guess
no, it's crazy when you pair it. Well,
I guess 1 second in League is a very long time, so 1/4 of a second, not too bad.
1/4 of a second, I think, is fair for a champion that shouldn't necessarily have a overpowering stun, if that makes sense.
And see, damage against monsters no longer reduced by 25%. Damage against minions and summons unchanged. So, I mean, you could be seeing some W snipes on Dragon more often now.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. That happens every once in a while.
Right. Not very often, but it can happen. It's so telegraphed, which is why it doesn't happen that often.
Trap recharge rate on his E is going down by 4 seconds at level 1. That's big, considering their last max ability.
Right.
And by level 5, it is going to be down by 2 seconds. Okay, that's pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
And first, what the fuck was this really called? Jingle Bells?
I don't know why it's called Jingle Bells.
Jingle Bells. Okay. First Lotus Trap damage no longer reduced by 35% against monsters. Damage against minions and summons unchanged. So I'm assuming you can't just stack a million Lotuses on top of each other. So if one pops, it's going to do the full amount of damage, and then after that, it's going to do the 35% reduced. I'm assuming that's what that means.
That's what I'm thinking too.
Have you ever seen those Earth videos where people went like AP Jin and just threw it and it like one shots the dragon?
Yeah, it's fucking disgusting.
Okay, nice little change. I think Jin.
Yeah, I think he needed it. He's
to compete.
I know that he's been, at least according to Blitz statistics, he has been a decently popular pick as of late, but I think he just still doesn't compete very well with your hyper attack speed champions like Zeri and Jinx, right? Mm-hmm. So you have to find a way to work them out or give Jin a buff to work him back in to be more preferable. And I mean, obviously, our next champion is Jinx, and as we can all assume, she's getting a nerf. I think this is a way to get Jin's foot in the door.
Right. What we got with Jinx then? Oh.
Jinx is very simple. She's just getting a base health decrease from 610 to 560.
That's pretty big.
That is pretty big. That's 50 damage. That's about an early auto attack with armor. That's one less auto attack to kill her at level 1, I guess. With you factor in the armor mitigation and whatnot.
I still think she's gonna be. She's just such a good like late game insurance. I mean, you look at the Danny game.
As long as she can get excited. If she can't get excited, it's a different story, and she has to be full items. But if she can get excited at 3 items, she could just annihilate a whole team.
So again, I think we're still gonna see a lot of her.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
All right, let's move on to Kaisa. Passive proc AP ratio increased. W AP ratio decreased. God fucking bless. R shield AP ratio increased. Okay.
So just by the sounds of that, they're saying stop playing W max Kaisa. You still get the benefit of or any game mode.
It's mainly an ARAM. It's fucking annoying.
Right. Well, we were seeing it mid Kaisa.
Yeah,
in fucking games, right? So like they're trying to get you to not do that, but you're still gonna benefit from the AP. Like they still want you to build Nashor's Tooth, and they still want you to build.
I think Crown is still gonna be her. Item.
Yeah, you could still build that, but play her as an ADC.
Yeah,
Same way that people are doing with Ezreal and people were doing with Varus for a little bit.
So like looking at a passive, the scaling per 100 AP is getting doubled from 2.5% to 5%. So building AP is still going to be pretty good on her.
Right. Right.
The W, I think people just complaining about that long range W, just one-shotting people.
Dude, it's so fucking stupid.
The W AP scaling is dropping by 25%.
Yeah.
Which is that's good.
That's God huge.
And then Killer Instinct, her ultimate, the AP ratio is going up by 25%, 100% AP scaling on this now.
Right. So let me contextualize that for those that don't play Kaisa. The point of the W in her kit is not for what it had been used for most recently, right? People were using it just to snipe people. The point of the W in her kit is to hunt somebody down. You land that W, so you give yourself the opportunity to ulti in. So they're going to take the 25% away from the damage and put it into your shield, because that's what they want you to do. Hit the W, ulti in, and fight and blow them up, instead of just the W being a pop machine or whatever, you know?
That's going to be a fat fucking shield.
Yep. Oh, yeah. Her shield's pretty shitty as it is. Yeah. So adding that is actually really nice.
No, I like that.
Especially because she's such a split damage builder too, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know that she'll build. She might not build Man Immune anymore. Because the whole point of that is to get the W to pop. She might still, because you still get it with your Q. But you're gonna have, I think, more just raw AD stats than what Man Immune gives you, if that makes sense.
We'll see.
More attack speed and whatnot. So you're gonna be more of like a, hey, I'm jumping in to fight you, not trying to pop your ass from far away.
We will see. I think this might be enough. I might need enough to bump her back in.
I think so. I think you'll start. I think you'll continue to see her as an ADC. Question is, do you still go Hail of Blades, or do you go back to like Lethal Tempo or even PTA?
I think Hail is probably the best. I mean, if you hit your W gives 2 stacks, right, of her passive. I believe so.
Does it only give 2 stacks when upgraded, or is it 2 stacks?
Well, I'm just saying, like,
changes?
you're in lane level 3, so
Yeah,
you hit the
I don't know
W,
if it
2
gives
stacks,
1,
and
2,
then
yeah.
Hail Blades auto attacks 1, 2, 3. You know, it's quick. I think Hail Blades is still the best.
I fucking hate that rune, dude. I fucking hate Halo Blades. It's such a duty ass rune. I wish they would. I feel like that's a rune that should be for like melees only, or it should have a bigger benefit for melees, right? Because they're the ones that need the quick pop. The ADCs have a whole tree for themselves.
Well, there's a lot of champions that have those. A lot
Right.
of, like, I mean, you look at Vayne has a 3-hit
Yeah.
passive. You look at Kaisa that has like a 5-hit, whatever.
Right. No. I mean, you're not wrong. It's just I fucking hate Halo Blades.
All right, what about her dad here?
Yeah, her pops Casadino. It's funny too because their pictures actually now look a lot more similar than they used to, with Cassadin's being extremely purple. I actually don't like his little icon. It just looks like a purple square. That is, I know, has nothing to do with anything, but like, it just looks so bland. The Q shield AP ratio increased and the E AP ratio increased. So he's going to be gaining more magic resistance, or I guess protection for magic damage. Right. So let's see. It's weird that they say they just mentioned the AP ratio, because as I'm looking at it, the base is going up too. Yeah. So it was 40 to 160 plus 30% AP. It's now 60 to 180 plus 40% AP. Which is huge because this dude builds a massive amount of AP.
That sounds scary.
Right. And
guy is going to be able to survive lane against other mages very well.
Right.
I mean, he already takes reduced magic damage from his passive, right?
Yep.
So, yeah.
Okay. And then the E is just getting a very minor buff, but it's still astronomical. The base is staying the same at 80 to 180, but it's going from 80 AP ratio to 85% AP ratio. That 5% is astronomical.
I think we're going to be seeing a lot of Kassadin, especially pro play. This is like...
It depends. I think it depends on how the pros choose to play it, right? Are the pros going to try to play a short game and just win? Or do they think, if they're looking into a scaling game, someone's picking Jinx, maybe you pick Kassadin as like a late game insurance policy, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because as we've said before, and as we've noted, level 16 is pretty much over once he hits 16.
Yeah, if you guys didn't know, Kassadin has a flash ability on a 1-second cooldown, and it deals damage.
Yeah, and it chews up a lot of mana, which isn't a problem when they give you fucking Seraph's Embrace.
Or if you take Presence of Mind.
Seraph's Embrace also heals you. Yeah, and Presence of Mind. Yeah, it used to actually be a trade-off. It's no longer a trade-off when you have all this free shit.
It's game over if this dude hits 16.
Right. What do you go? You go Blue Tree, right? We go Comet.
I'd probably go. I think a lot of people were going Fleet Footwork just to survive lane.
I can see that too. And then you go Blue Tree second with like Gathering Storm and Mana Flow. I mean, you have no problem with mana. That's actually a big problem.
Right.
When you have a champion like this.
So that's gonna be kind of scary.
Right.
Moving on to Mordekaiser. Ooh, I did see this one, and I'm actually really excited for this because I feel like this champion is strong, but this is a nice little push. I mean, we saw Impact bust out the Mordekaiser, which was very surprising. His passive movement speed is scaling now, and it increases at levels 1, 6, and 11. So at level 1, between level 1 and 6, you're going to have 3% movement speed. At level 6, you're going to get 6% movement speed. And 11, you're going to get 9% movement speed. Of course, this is his passive when you auto attack or hit an enemy with three abilities or auto attacks, and you get that. I
didn't even realize he got movement speed. So he basically has a phase rush passive.
Pretty much. I mean, as long as that passive is moving.
Right.
So this is good because he gets a little extra chase down now, which
and he takes Conquer anyways, right?
Yep.
Yeah. be gross if he had phase rush, but Conqueror's is way better. He needs the damage buff.
This champion I think can get. I remember when he was first reworked, he's pretty unstoppable.
Yeah.
They've been buffing him slowly, and
very little too, very subtly.
I like this. I mean, movement speed. I'll take movement speed any day. I think that's a very underrated stat in the game.
It is. Absolutely is. That's why people build boots early.
Right.
Especially if you're getting shit on. If I build boots early, I can at least get the fuck out of the way.
Right. So I'll probably be playing some Mordekaiser.
Yeah, absolutely. Mordekaiser and Urgot.
We don't know why Urgot's OP.
We have no idea why Urgot is being played a lot right now and is really strong. They haven't done anything, and the other champions haven't really lost anything, so I don't know what's going on there. But we'll move to the old Poopy. Poppy's getting a little bit of a buff here as well with the W cooldown reduction, or I guess W cooldown's reduced. The R is getting an uncharged knockup duration increase, and the charged missile speed and knockback distance increased. And there is a cooldown refund on the cancel, which is getting decreased.
Wow.
So what does that mean? Well, let's find out. The Steadfast Presence, which is her W, carried a cooldown of 24 to 16 seconds, scaling based on level of skill. It is now 20 to 12 seconds, so she'll be able to use that a little more often.
I think you max this ability third, too. So, again, with I think you're right. You get that initial 4 seconds off at rank 1. That's always big. And every champion in the game has a dash, so she absolutely fucks them.
Well, here's a champion that can actually really work on, I don't know if it's countering Ornn, but at least with the W, she can help defend against Ornn, right? She can stop him from dashing with his E. Is it E or is it W?
Which one? The E is the dash.
The charge. Yeah, the charge.
Yeah.
Here's a question. When he hits the bull, I guess it's a bull. Is it a bull? Whatever he calls with the horn, or maybe it's a ram. Okay, whenever he hits that, is that considered a dash? Because I know he kind of slides forward when he does it.
Yes, it is. If you
that could be a.
Only reason I know that is because if Cassiopeia throws miasma, or if Singe throws his glue, he can't hit the ram.
Okay, so yeah, that's another good way to.
So Poppy will stop.
Try to counter him. Right. I mean, obviously there's the Braum counter that's just dumbass OP, but the R, Keeper's Verdict. So the uncharged knockup duration was 3/4 of a second. It's now a full second. The charged missile speed is actually getting a pretty hefty buff.
Wow.
It used to move at 2,000 units. It now moves at 2,500 units. I'm assuming it's units per second, if I had to guess. But getting a whole extra quarter, the 25% increase is a lot. The charged knockback distance, so it was 2,400 units towards that character's fountain, so towards the enemy's fountain. It is now 3,400 units. Wow. So that's an extra 1,000 units, which is is that like a wild cards from TF? I think TF's wild cards go 1,000 units.
That's pretty big.
Pretty fucking far. And then the cooldown refund upon a canceled charge was 30 seconds. It's now 15 seconds. So she can charge it up and threaten you and never use it, then have it back in 15 seconds. That's pretty fucking OP too. I expect to see this champion in pro play.
Oh yeah,
defending against neutral objectives like Baron or Dragon or whatever.
Just Poppy I think is slept on. She's fucking awesome, and again, every champion has a fucking dash in the goddamn game.
Right, it's what makes her relevant. Is that Steadfast Presence?
One of the other reworks that I think was pretty much perfect, because if you guys remember her old kit was very yikes.
Yeah, and her old model was disgusting.
Lollipoppy, dude, just nightmares.
Oh, dude, it was creepy as fuck, dude. But tell me about Sejuani.
Sejuani, passive frost armor timer now decreases with level. Okay. Sejuani receives frost armor and is from, originally it was 12 seconds. Now it scales from levels 1 to 18, 12 to 6 seconds of not taking damage from enemy champions or monsters. That's pretty big. She relies
Fucking,
on that passive of getting the resistances a lot. And
I fucking hate this champion, dude.
Sejuani is like,
This is a champion that takes no fucking damage ever.
I mean, if you just play Trundle, you can't. It's game over.
Right. But if you're not playing Trundle, even with Kraken Slayer, this champion takes no fucking damage.
Stupidly tanky.
Right. So I wonder if the reason they buffed Poppy is because they buffed Sejuani and expect to see Sejuani in the jungle, and she's got that nice little Q dash. So I'm wondering if maybe the Poppy buff was a slight reaction to like a Sejuani buff.
Perhaps.
Maybe. Or could be a slight reaction to Jhin too, because Jin's a Gale Force builder, which is a free dash.
See, if
Hadn't thought about that.
Sejuani is kind of niche. I mean, I guess there's a lot of melee champions in the game right now. You're seeing a lot of Jarvan jungles. You're seeing Trundle played top, Mordekaiser, Ornn. If you have at least 2 other melee champions, just pick Sejuani in the jungle. It's so free.
Yeah, honestly, if you have a Leona on your team, a Sejuani should be free. Even if you just have Leona, because of the sheer amount of time she can auto attack with her Q reset.
Yeah.
You should be able to pop anything with Sejuani's around. Sejuani come in, hit, she hits the W, which counts as a hit it counts the melee hit. And if Leona, E and then Qs, you guys are gonna have them stunned, perma-stunned, without having to use a Sedge ult. And you can save that for the next champion. Or the other thing I was also thinking of, because you mentioned Trundle, like even I could see this happening in pro play where they flex pick a Trundle and put them top lane, and they actually pick a Sedge as their jungler, so they have that extra melee champion in a tank drainer.
Possibilities, man. She's probably the best tank jungler, or I guess Jarvan is a little bit better.
But Jarvan's not really a tank jungler. He's a bruiser style. I mean, depending on how you build him, I wouldn't classify him as a tank jungler.
I mean, you can't. You surely. I've seen a lot of people.
You could build him tank, right?
Yeah, but
he doesn't do that well with the tank stats. They don't.
Well, he's a CC bot. He just
exactly
R's.
Yep.
That's it.
Yep. That's it. All right, we'll move right down to Soraka, which I think this little nerf is necessary because she's been ripping it up lately. They are dropping the AP ratio on her heal from her W. So it's losing. See, okay, they did this again. It says dropping AP damage. Ratio, but they are dropping base damage or base heal late. So it was 100 to 240 with a 70% ratio. It's now 100 to 220 with a 65% ratio. So that's actually pretty noticeable because she doesn't build that much AP anyways. I mean, she's building support items that carry AP, like Putrifier and Ardent Sensor and Moonstone. And if you're taking 5% off of something that doesn't have a whole lot to begin with, that doesn't seem like much. But, I mean, I would think she probably loses 60 health at a max W, for healing, if I had to just estimate. That's including the base difference, so I think that's pretty noticeable.
Okay. Silas, R cooldown reduced. Wow. Okay. It is.
Fuck me, dude.
It is dropping from 100 to 40 based on level or rank to 80 to 30. 20 seconds
Jesus.
at rank 1 and then 10 seconds at rank 3. And of course, you're going to have a shit ton of CDR.
Yeah.
I did not realize his R was that low anyways.
I didn't know that either.
That's brutal.
That is really gross.
And his champion's already getting a lot of playtime.
Especially the TF counter, right? That's like the big fucking thing. It's like, oh, cool, you want to play cross map? I can play cross map too. I got
join you.
Yeah, let's do it. Or a Shen counter. You want to play cross map? I'll just cross map with the Shen ult. You know what I mean? And I feel like right now those champions are played a lot because of the nerfs to TP, right?
Yeah.
Like Shen, that makes Shen a more desirable champ. And that makes TF a more desirable champ because it does give you map movement. And it's pretty fucking broken when you could just put Silas on the other side and say, I could do it too.
Okay. Ban Silas. Fuck that champion.
Yeah, seriously. Get rid of that fucking champion because the people that play them are the same people that play your Yasuos, and they're either really good or really bad, and I don't think you want either of that in your game.
Nope. Nope.
Take the chance that your Silas is not the good one, just like you would take the chance that your Yasuo is not the good one, and just ban the fucking champion. Tristana's next on our list. She's getting an AD growth increase. Nothing too crazy, but just to try to push her into relevance. Her AD growth is from 3.3 per level to 3.7, which means her innate AD at level 18 is going to jump up by about 6 points, almost 7 points. So from 115.1 to 121.9, which the game would round up to 122.
That is nothing.
Not huge, but it's just trying to what it's going to do is be more effective early, right?
I mean, is 0.4 AD per level going to be
early on? Is when a longsword makes a difference in a fight, right?
Fair.
So I mean, you could be fighting at level 6, and a longsword could be the difference of you losing that fight or winning that fight. So I feel like if you're kind of hedging that with was 0.4 to an extra 2 damage. Not a whole lot. You're right. It's not a shit ton, but it could be enough to skew that fight a little bit with 2.5 extra damage per auto attack or whatever.
Seeing Kaisa buffs, I think I'd rather pick Kaisa over Tristana.
That's fair. I mean, Tristana has her place too, though. I mean, she could play into Kaisa decently well in terms of like ult for ult. Like Kaisa wants to come in and ult you, and then you just push her ass back with your ult or whatever, So hard to tell. Like you said, it's not a huge buff. Like it's really, really negligible, but I think it makes a bit of a difference just because they're trying to nerf Jinx. They're increasing Tristana's damage. They're trying to push some champions out and bring some new ones in, but they don't want to overtune anybody to make them like, dude, you have to pick this champion right now because they just got buffed so heavy,
Mm-hmm.
But not much else to say there. So what do we got next?
Vel'Koz, Q and W AP ratios increased.
Fuck me. I hate seeing this champion because he's always played in support.
Right. I mean, he's very vulnerable. So I think just pairing him with a lane partner is probably the best. And I mean, he just literally pokes out the ass.
It's so fucking annoying.
So Q is getting an AP ratio increase of 10%. We like to see it. And the W AP ratio is going up by 5%. Okay? Nothing too bad there. See,
that's
now
on
this
the initial.
Is this the first accurate thing where they said just
yeah,
the
right?
AP
just
ratios? Who's like reviewing these posts?
I think Ari is the one who made this. So Arisu, Riru, and Riot Ether.
One of you guys need to be fired.
Paul Persnickety, dude, you need to get your shit together. I think Riot Aether and Arisu typically do these, or at least they have for this season. And they have not done a good job on the proofreading. I feel like I've noticed more incidents of I don't even know if I would call them typos or just left out or misrepresented information this season than I have in the past. But this is also the season where I've paid more attention to the notes between this season and last season when we started our podcast.
Even more of a reason to listen to us, guys, because if you're not reading these or maybe you just buzz through it and you're just like, oh, okay, AP ratios increased.
Yep.
But some of the base damage of these abilities is going up as well.
Right. Why don't you give me what they're doing with the next champion?
Oh, we were just talking about Vladimir.
I know we were.
Base armor is going up by 4. I think I mean there's a lot of melee AD fighters top lane.
Yeah.
And they're just giving our boy Vlad a little bit of extra oomph.
I'm thinking not just the melees too, but some people still Whippo play Lucian as a solo laner, which is still a thing that you can do. He obviously has more power when paired with someone that can heal or shield him, but Vlad's just needs a little help somewhere because this champion can really just fucking take off. So giving him a little bit of armor is nice to see, especially if you're going to put him in the top lane. A lot of those champions are base damage heavy. And so you give him a little bit of armor to kind of combat that. It's not a whole lot. It's only 4 armor. But
big numbers. Okay.
yeah. This one should be big. We got Xayah here. And this is a champion that I think we've seen she's almost been, I wouldn't say 100% pick banned, but she's got like a good like 70 to 80% pick ratio, I feel like, in the last few weeks in pro play. And you're seeing a multitude of builds, right? We saw, was it TL that banned Xayah from Danny? Or sorry, banned Jinx from Danny and forced him onto the Xayah or whatever, and he built Kraken Slayer. It's like, to hell with your Eclipse build. I'm just gonna build the attack speed and shred the shit out of you, and that's exactly what he did. This is just a nerf to her Q, so the base damage is actually getting decreased late, and the cooldown's increasing late. This is her poke skill. This probably is gonna eliminate the Eclipse build.
I don't think it'll eliminate it.
They're at least looking to target it, right? The lethality Xayah is what they're pinpointing.
It's so strong, dude. Like the Aerie just,
yeah,
it's pretty insane how strong it is.
Right. So they are taking it from 45 to 125 base damage with a 50% 80 bonus 80 ratio. It's gonna go to 45 to 105 base damage with a 50% bonus 80 ratio. So not a huge difference. You're looking at only 20 damage late, but that does affect each level after level 1. So it was 45, 65, 85, 105, 125. It's now 45, 60, 75, 90, 105. And the cooldown it used to be 10 to 6 seconds. It's now 10 to 8 seconds. And I feel like that's pretty important because that's what she uses a lot of times to get her feathers going and to poke you. And so it really hurts that lethality build for sure.
Yeah, plus with that build, she maxes this first. So
yep.
Cool.
Yep, you probably go back to maxing W first if you're gonna, well, when you're playing attack speed, you go W first. If you're trying to play lethality, W's by far last. You go QE. So she definitely has some different builds available to her. So I don't think this is gonna push her out. It's just gonna make her probably not go lethality.
Moving on to Xerath, another champion we fucking hate.
Support.
Fucking hate this champion.
It's just when he's played support.
Right. They are increasing the stun duration of his E, which is based on distance. So it is going from half a second to 2 seconds based on max distance to 0.75 to 2.25 seconds. So a quarter second increase.
Right.
Oh man, that sucks. I didn't realize at like the absolute max range it was already a 2 second stun.
I didn't realize it scaled based off of distance.
Yeah, it was kind of like Nidalee's spear doesn't stun, but same thing. Further.
Right, that's like an Ashe ulti.
Yeah, so if you see a Xerath E coming at you, you want to run towards it.
Run towards it,
or if you can't get out of the way,
run side to side.
Yeah. Oh, that's bullshit.
I don't like this champion in support because he does the same thing that Brand does. He's closer to Brand than he is to Vel'Koz, but they do the same thing. Just gonna poke you with my fucking Q and make your life miserable. And when you try to farm, I'm just gonna continually hit you with my fucking stupid skills and get free mana back from auto attacking you.
I think this is just promoting his support.
It is
because I mean, if you're playing mid,
literally giving him utility.
Right, playing a mid, you know, if you're going against like LeBlancs and stuff, they can just dodge out of the way. But you know, if you're laning against a very vulnerable ADC, 2.25 second stun at max, and that's not even leveling it up. That's just one rank in it, 1 point in it.
Right. All the more reason to play more Lucian.
All right, is this our last champion? Yep, Zoe. We got
the Zoe. She's getting a Q and R mana cost decrease. I haven't seen Zoe outside of ARAM.
Good.
So she definitely needs something, I guess.
No, she doesn't.
She's one-dimensional, right? She does one thing. She hits you with her E and then slaps you with her Q, and hopefully you don't die. If that's you. If you're her, hopefully you die. So her paddle star mana cost was 50 to 70 scaling on level. It's now 40 to 60. Not a huge difference, but might be enough to keep her in it because she is pretty mana intensive as it is. And her portal jump is dropping by 10 from 50 to 40.
And not
Nothing
bad.
crazy to see here. Right.
All right, that is all the champions. Guys, it's a long episode. Thanks for sticking with us here. It is definitely
a long episode.
Let's move on to items, and here we go, baby. Stopwatch.
Oh, thank God they're nerfing this fucking item.
Stopwatch will no longer be purchasable if you already own Guardian Angel or Zhonya's Hourglass. So that's the good news.
Thank you. Dude, I've been saying this for a whole year. You shouldn't be able to do this.
You want to hear the bad news?
What's the bad news?
So if you have a stopwatch in your inventory, you can buy a second one. So you have 2 in your inventory. If you upgrade one of the stopwatch to a Zhonya's, you can still use the second Hourglass or the stopwatch. So
okay, but that forces you into poor build optimization, right?
It's still there's a loophole. There's a way around this temporarily, like a small.
So here's my thought. You're right. There is a loophole and I don't know the build path. No, I think I do. For each item, right? That you have to have 3 components to build it.
I think so. Yeah.
They're not first items because mythics typically take precedent over it. If you need some defense, you might build a stopwatch or you might build a Seeker's Arm Guard, but you're not getting the Fiendish Codex as well until you've completed your first item. GA, you build a stopwatch, and maybe depending on what type of champion you're playing, if you're playing ADC, you probably take the best friend sword. If you're playing like a top laner, you probably go for the armor, depending on who you're playing. But by that point, it's very hard to have all these items in your inventory and be able to upgrade. So you would have to have a lot of gold to do it. So it's not you're right, there is a loophole. You still can do it, but it's much more difficult to do.
I think I've seen a lot of people. I wonder if the Reddit post is still up. Someone made a suggestion. Why don't you just it'd be tough. I think someone's like, make Zhonya's Hourglass a mythic, but then I don't know what they would do with the GA. I don't know. I just think like if you buy one stopwatch, you're just done for the game.
Right.
You shouldn't be able to purchase another one at all.
I could see them forcing you to sell it because you get what, 5 gold for selling it?
Something like that.
And forcing you to continually buy them like a consumable.
They should just increase the gold on it for a stopwatch. They get like 1,000 gold.
Yeah, there's that. Yeah.
Or you know what? How about this? You ready? Just fucking get rid of that item.
I know, dude. It's so fucking. I mean, being able to put yourself in stasis is fine. I get it, but like
for 600 gold,
it shouldn't be accessible to every champion. That's my problem with it. Every game, when you watch pro, almost every game, I think there's a point in time where every champion will have bought a stopwatch in pro play.
Or has like 2 of them. You'll see like the hourglass go off and then the stopwatch go off. It's fucking...
Yeah. So, but like, I feel like every game, it doesn't matter what champion you're playing, you will have a stopwatch at some point. Whether or not you choose to upgrade it, you're just using it so you don't die in that moment for the next big team fight or whatever.
It just needs to be removed.
Stupid.
I could see them removing it because if people keep complaining about it.
Yep.
Hey, just get rid of it. We don't need it.
Yep. And that's pretty much everything. I'm just looking through the bug fixes and the quality of life changes, and one of them I see here, Alawi, the test of spirit grants assist credit whether or not the vessel takes damage. So that's nice, because that would be pretty stupid if like, I hit my E on them and they may not have taken any damage, but
I think I've experienced that. I'm like, why the fuck didn't I get an assist?
Right. There is a little bug. Fix a bug where Pike, Twitch, Rengar, and Viego would remain revealed for up to a second after getting out of range or whatever reveal their camouflage. That seems pretty important. I don't think there's really anything else here there's a lot of allowy bug fixes. Yeah, I don't think there's too much in here otherwise.
No, and the guys, there's a lot of other mythic content updates. I think we've kind of beat that dead
Yeah,
horse.
we don't need to go over that.
You guys can read this. Newest info is the skins.
Yep,
Prestige Lunar Eclipse Senna is gonna be 125 mythic essence coming out.
that's kind of cool looking though.
It looks good.
This is the first prestige skin where they've really changed up the
splash
dynamic,
art
right?
is different.
Yeah,
I like that.
drastically.
I'm a little, at first glance, and the only reason I'm saying this because I saw someone else say this, it kind of looks like, what the fuck is the band?
Oh,
True Damage?
KDL out or True Damage.
It's just
okay.
the color scheme. I don't know. It's at quick glance.
She was
mean,
in True Damage though, wasn't she?
yeah, she was in True Damage.
Yeah, so I could see that.
I don't know. It's quick. It's they can only do so many colors, I guess. Still
right,
don't,
and they're trying to keep it with that like modernized style too.
Silver's getting the legendary skin. Feels like they robbed Kale from that. I think Kale should have got
Right.
that. GP skin looks cool.
Gangplank the Betrayer, which looks straight out of Ruin King the game.
It is. I think he's like it's basically ruined Gangplank.
It is. Yeah, he's got the mohawk and everything. Yeah, it's like straight out of the fucking game. But the only thing I don't like about this is it just reminds me too much of Spooky Gangplank. You know what I mean?
It's just spooky Gangplank inhabited by Viego.
Right.
Um,
I do like the Blade of the Ruin King that's behind him. I think that's pretty sick.
no one gives a shit about a Yasuo skin.
Yeah, fuck Suo.
I think that's about it.
Yeah,
that looks like it's it.
I think so. Obviously there's some chromas there. I was gonna mention something and I can't think of what it is, so it must not be that important.
Any suggestions for a poll or questions?
Oh, I remember what I was gonna mention. Next week, I think we want to address the incoming Talia changes.
Right. I also did see that they are pushing the Olaf changes to next patch as well, so that should be coming out too.
Sweet. So
yeah, I'm down to talk about the Talia changes. Thank God.
Right. I forgot about that, and I was just thinking of. I was like, oh yeah, I want to mention that, but I want to wait. So look out for that next week. In terms of, I think for a question, because you and I seem to have different opinions on the Prestige Lunar Eclipse Senna. Like I like it, and like you said, like oh, there's only so many colors, but you're saying it looks a little too close to True Damage, and I'm thinking like I could see where you're coming from, but I also feel like it's distinct in its own way.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm probably gonna get it. I'm for sure gonna get it, guys. I have 425 essence. I need to spend it on something.
Right.
But
I feel like that's at least a engaging kind of question. I know it doesn't have anything to do with gameplay.
Just how do you feel about
aesthetics? Yeah, like do you think it's too?
Okay.
Yeah, how do you feel about it?
Okay.
No, I like that. How do you feel about it? Because this is the first new prestige skin since they talked about changing them. So yeah, what do you guys think about that?
aside from Pike?
Right. Yeah, but Pike didn't. He didn't.
Sorry, it's all mythic. I don't know. It's still weird to talk about
Pike
was
a mythic one. And I'm just
gotcha.
naming prestige because there's a
you're right.
A
it is the
version
first new prestige one. Yeah, you're right.
So yeah, I want to know what you guys think about this first one in their long new list of prestige skins.
Poll?
And then poll wise, that's a great fucking question. I don't know. Do you guys think Jinx is still gonna be queen of the bot lane?
Okay, yeah, I like that. Is Jinx still on top? Gonna be on top. Okay.
Because
pro play, I guess.
A slight nerf. Yeah, pro play.
Pro play?
This is
Okay.
pro play. This is for pro play exclusively.
Cool.
Because in low elo, you could still pick any number of champions and do just fine.
Right.
So yeah, guys. I know we talked about it earlier, but obviously, if you're watching on YouTube, a nice thumbs up is helpful. We think we only have about like 3 or 4 viewers that watch on YouTube. So thank you to those of you that do.
Yep.
If you don't, no big deal. We're still pushing the Spotify, Anchor FM, where you can leave a voice question or voice answer or whatever. That's a great place if you guys have questions you want to ask us to do it. We are still waiting for that first voice submission. What else? Anchor, Spotify. What am I forgetting? Oh, Apple Podcasts. You can always leave a review on Apple Podcasts. You can always hit the review at the top on Spotify. It doesn't give you any room to add any words. It just gives you room to add a rating. But most importantly, share us with your friends, guys.
Yeah, seriously.
I am noticing week after week, we are picking up more and more steam. I'm seeing it on Instagram, at least. I don't know about Twitter because I don't check the engagement on Twitter, but on Instagram, I'm seeing an increase week over week with consistency. So thank you. Keep sharing with your friends. Somebody on Instagram is bookmarking every post, which is hopes for me is hoping that he's, or they, I guess, are sharing that with their friends.
Right.
Or even if it's a friend, and a friend can share to another friend who can share to another friend, and we all know how exponents work, so I don't need to beat that dead horse, but seriously, that's the best way to support us and help us out.
As always, guys, good luck in your games, and we will see you for the champion review.
Yes, we will.